How are you? So very shortly, there'll be the biggest setup since the Muhammad Ali Sonny Liston fight, orchestrated by a close associate of mine, or one I knew. I shouldn't a person I knew, not an associate. I think somebody you put in jail you can't call an associate. Uh, Tony Salerno, who is alleged to have fixed that fight way back. Uh, I don't know who fixed this fight, but someone of equal criminal stature, because the Biden crime family has been around for 35 or 40 years. So I don't think they even. And the good thing about this is Salerno probably had to pay a lot to fix that fight. Stephanopoulos will do it for nothing. All Hillary has to do is say, "Okay, little pussycat, you do it for me, okay? Come, just jump up and down, pussycat. I want you to jump like that. Boom, 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 boom." I mean, let's face it. It's been years of a complete fraud on you. And this is one of the reasons why you're brainwashed, because you got Stephanopoulos, you got Chris Matthews, and I like Chris Matthews, but he worked for the speaker, the Democratic speaker. You don't have any Republicans like that. One, two. Where's the people who voted who worked for Ronald Reagan? The only ones they'll take from Bush or Trump are the ones who hate them. Look at all those Bush people who hate Republicans now. Wasn't that Nicole? What's her name? Nicole, the very angry one. She's on. She's on. Yeah,
Nicole
she
Walker.
I know her a little bit. Man, you don't even recognize her anymore. She's so mean. Every day she's angry about something. Wow, you can't live like that. I don't think. But I have a question I want to start with. Uh, the Republican convention is coming upon us because I just had a conversation tonight with Dr. Maria and with Mike about going to the convention. And we're going to help to cover it, which I really think is going to be great. Dr. Maria and I and Mike and lots of other people. And I do look forward to that because I've never had that role before. And I do feel like I've got more convention experience than maybe some of the commentators do. But they don't pay attention to the Republican convention. They only care about the Democratic convention. I cover both. So I've been at let me see, 2000 in Philly, right? 2004 in New York. 2008, 2012, 2006. I've been to six Republican conventions, and I've been to five Democratic conventions. So and of course, the ones before that I wasn't going to, I followed a lot. And the Republican convention promises to be a great deal of fun because it could be boring as hell, but Trump makes these things fun. And it's not just Trump; it's the people that work with him. They're skilled at lightening things up so you can absorb them, which is a great skill both in law and politics. So you'll get good entertainment from that. But here's my concern. And after that, the Democrat convention, there's no way it can't be dramatic. There's no way you may finally get to see something I'm going to feel really good about because I'll get to explain it to you. Because I saw contested elections. I saw contested elections. Most people haven't. I can tell you about the roll call for vice president in 1956 between Estes Kefauver and John F. Kennedy, a young senator from Massachusetts, who surprisingly came out of nowhere and actually was leading when the votes were finished. And then the Democrats, crooked as usual, changed the vote. It was like, when is the vote counting going to stop? When we defeat Kennedy and elect Kefauver, like when we defeat Trump and elect Biden. So the vote's over, and then they didn't realize they had given Kennedy too many votes. and they did a procedural maneuver, and they had states change their vote with enough changes so that Kennedy was thrown off the ticket because really Stevenson didn't want him. Stevenson thought he was too anti-communist. I know you find that hard to believe. The Democrat Party has a terrible, terrible history as a party of slavery. It's got just about as bad a history as the party of communism, too. And they put Kefauver on the ticket, but they left a bitterness with the delegates about this handsome, young, very articulate, something we had, at least in our generation or several, we hadn't seen in politics. A young man who was humorous, smart, great young family, and moderate. You know, not Republicans could vote for him without thinking, "Oh my goodness, I'm going to destroy the country," and Democrats could vote for him without thinking they're falling off the cliff and heading toward the Soviet Union. And you could tell he loved America, which was the key, and so did Nixon. So it was a great convention. That convention set the stage for politics for the next 30 years, really. And the 60 conventions, well, you knew Nixon was going to be nominated in 60, but even the 60 convention for Kennedy was, he had the votes if he could hold them. And he had probably one of the guys, along with Manafort, who has to be considered one of the great vote counters on the floor. Because Manafort was one of the few Republicans, Trump hired him for that, who had actually managed conventions where you had to hold votes on the floor. Well, you know who was great at that? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And the legends about what he said to people to keep the votes are quite interesting. Even some of they didn't do illegal surveillance then. Oh, well, they probably wouldn't because it was Democrats anyway. But when they needed somebody, he would sometimes put his brother on the phone and the guy would go white and then he'd vote for Kennedy. But it was great to watch. So we'll have to see what happens. But here's my question. Right now, this is working out beautifully for Trump. The debate this has been an 8-day debate, not a day. Some of the days after the debate have been almost as bad as the debate, like yesterday when he said that he was he served with the first. He was the first. Yeah, I'll play it. Yeah, I get it.
First president elected statewide in the state of Delaware when I was a kid. Well, you know, I looked at John Kennedy and said, well, he got elected. Why can't I get elected? By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president. I'm proud of the first black woman.
That happened once. Like 7 days after the debate, and he's still, his mind, the brain cells and whatever the things, the little electrical things, currents that go between the brain cells are all effed up. Wow. How bad is that? The thing about Kennedy was hilarious. It really was, if Kennedy could get elected, he actually thought he was Kennedy. I mean, Kennedy was a very smart man. Can you imagine? I imagine Robert F. Kennedy Jr. must feel a little insulted that he's comparing himself to his uncle. He does live in a totally ridiculous world. Because of John Kennedy, he ran. And that's why he felt, I guess, capable of plagiarizing his speeches as well as Robert F. Kennedy's. And then plagiarizing Neil Kinnock's life. That should have been a signal that he was a thoroughly dishonest man who lived in a thoroughly dishonest world. Plagiarism is one thing, now totally accepted at Harvard. I think all of the professors at Harvard are allowed to plagiarize. In fact, you get a grade for good plagiarism. Dr. Maria, you got something for us?
Yes, so Mayor Giuliani, I am listening to this interview by George Stephanopoulos, and you know we don't have a lot of faith that George is going to be a hard-hitting interviewer. This is made to be a soft interview. But President Biden started out that what happened the night of the debate was they shut President Trump's microphone off, but he continued to yell at him, so he got a little frazzled. And he also said that his doctors said he's exhausted.
What?
His doctors have said that he's exhausted because Stephanopoulos asked, "What did your doctors have to say? You talked to somebody today." And he said, "They looked right at me and said I was exhausted because I'm running the world. I'm campaigning every day and I'm running the world," is what President Biden just said.
And
And he also says he gets, when Stephanopoulos asks for him if he's going to do a cognitive test, he says he does that every day. He has a test every day.
can we see them?
Yeah, that's a lie. Look,
Oh,
I don't.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, and this interview doesn't. He still needs to do either something live or something with an actual back and forth with reporters. This is a
Then on the-
taped interview. This is a taped interview with a, one of Clinton's, top guys. So this is actually.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton's.
And while Dr. Maria watches, we have ABC released a clip earlier. So let's play that. And again, this is happening now, but we do have a clip that ABC released earlier today.
Already? Wow.
Afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
Well, what I want to get at is what were you experiencing as you were going through the debate? Did you know how badly it was going?
Yeah, look. The whole way I prepared, nobody's fault mine. Nobody's fault but mine. I prepared what I usually would do, sitting down, as I did come back with foreign leaders or the National Security Council, for explicit detail. And I realized about partway through that.
Did you ever?
So the beginning is all that mattered there.
Yeah, tell us what he said.
Here's
Miss
the
something.
beginning. I'll just give you the beginning.
Afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
So George asked him, "Did
I heard
you?"
that. I don't think I did.
He said, "I don't think so. No."
This is a perfect example, Maria,
Please, what?
Dr. Maria. This is a perfect example of like a spot-on diagnosis of dementia. Did you watch the debate? I don't think I did. There's confusion as to whether he did or he didn't. It's 8 days and he can't remember.
Yeah.
8 days. So you want short-term memory? There was some idiot doctor who went on and said that he doesn't have the symptom of losing his train of thought. Holy God. He lost his train of thought 5 times during the debate. How about when he took the question about abortion, which is like Babe Ruth getting an 80-mile-an-hour, a guy who throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball put over the middle of the plate at 80 miles an hour. And he swung and missed by changing it into a question about immigration, where he is very weak. Because he couldn't remember what the subject was. That answer is absurd. You can't remember if you watched the debate enough? I don't think so. It's been 8 freaking days. Also, the excuse that Dr. Maria said he offered, that he was exhausted. He got 8 days off. They gave him 8 effing days off. What are we going to have to, how can he be president? How many days do we have to give him off so he isn't so exhausted that he's going to double cross the country? How many days do we have to give him off so he doesn't get another 13 people killed in Afghanistan? How many days do we have to give him off so he doesn't invite an attack on Ukraine? How many days do we have to give him off so he doesn't sit by and see the 100,000 killed by fentanyl go up to 200,000? Are there enough days to give him off? And you can see what I mean by why Stephanopoulos is a complete fraud and should be thrown off television. Only way we're ever going to have a country of well-informed citizens is if prostitutes like that get off the television. You don't ask him when he says he was tired. But Mr. President, you got a vacation of 8 days before that debate. Unprecedented. No president's ever taken off 8 days to prepare for a presidential debate. I mean, how can you live with yourself and not ask that question? Because you are a Washington piece of crap for a long, long time. And whatever soul you had, you sold it to the party of slavery. And now the party of communism. Gosh. They made his face red this time. They had it almost orange the other time. And all I can tell by looking at it is he looks tentative and sleepy. He also looks like he's in a kindergarten library. Maybe that's what Dr. Biden brings him so he feels comfortable. I think there was an indication that someone said that she feeds him. I don't believe that. I don't believe she's nice enough to feed him. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep green, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're gonna go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
This is Rudy Giuliani, and I'm back with America's Mayor Live and the updates from the completely corrupt. I don't know how you can have a corrupt interview session like a fixed fight, but that's what it is. Just the one interchange where our demented president tells our Hillary Pussycat interviewer, "Oh, I was exhausted. My doctor said I was exhausted." Doesn't a fourth grade interviewer then say, "But Mr. President, did your doctor know that you had an 8-day vacation before the interview? How many days do you need so you're not exhausted?" First of all, he didn't ask the question because he'd fall apart. Well, who knows what we would hear about? We'd hear about the highways being empty, or his uncle getting eaten up by the cannibals, or how he beat up Corn Pop, or how he likes little children touching the hair on his legs. But there is no answer to that except he's lying his backside on. And the doctor's lying. He's really exhausted because it's tiring not to have a brain. It is a testament to how stupid they think you are to do it this way. This would be as if Trump had a problem like this, which he doesn't. And he said, let me have Bannon interview me, or Giuliani, or Hannity. The left wouldn't even pay attention to it. I'd probably give him a fair interview. He'd do well. He got a brain. Well, the polls, they keep pouring in, and they keep, see, I think they're going to get worse and worse. I think I'll tell you why, because this process is continuing. So now you have, I could probably do a chart, and I feel bad that I didn't because I love doing little charts. each day he's added a little bit to Thursday. When you feel comfortable, Dr. Maria, you can tell us. I don't want you.
Yeah, this guy is
I
so
know,
crazy.
for years we felt bad laughing at this, haven't we?
I know, but you know what he just said? Because George Stephanopoulos, to me, he is doing a better job than I thought he would, is pushing him about stepping down.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But Biden keeps saying, no, he's the best qualified. He's the best guy. Nobody could do it like him. And Stephanopoulos said, what are you going to do to turn around the campaign? He said, George, you saw it today. No one can draw a crowd like me. Believes this malarkey. It's so crazy. All those 10 people were paid. No, I don't
Have
know
they-
that.
Has
I'm
he ever
kidding.
seen
Draw a crowd.
Has he ever seen a Trump crowd?
You know what? It's so strange. You know how we say a lot of Democrats project what they do against Republicans? You know, they say someone's racist. That's really them who's the racist. Same. Biden tonight is saying everything like he's Trump. He's like, Trump's going to come in and undo all my policies. Well, that's what he did. That's what we want. That's what we, the people want.
Inflation down to 1-2%.
Yeah. I'll try not to disrupt your show anymore, but this guy is killing me.
No wars. We'll get rid of the rapists and murderers, the ones who rape women and children. All right.
Saying that he can't get reelected, your approval rating's too low. Biden doesn't agree it's low.
How can you not agree it's low? It is whatever it says it is. I mean, he thinks the polls are prejudiced against him. When did that happen? Well, let's look at the polls. So this is the latest one. I get them confused because they're almost all the same now, Ted. They're all about 8 points. Remarkably, this is the Wall Street Journal telephone and text poll of 1,500 registered voters. And it was conducted, the debate was the 27th, so it was conducted 2 days after the debate through July 2nd. It has a 2.5% margin of error. And it looks to me like, and they've been taking this poll since before 2022, so it has a long history. So I like polls like that because you can go back and see the progress or the decline of candidates. And this is the biggest lead that Trump has had. Now, Biden had a lead of, is it a 10-minute limit? How long was the interview?
20 minutes?
I had Mike on longer than that. Well, maybe one of you can listen to it one time through and pick up a few more insane statements. I'm sure there are 3 or 4.
He says he's the only one who can hold China accountable.
Well, that's because he got money from them.
Accountable, saying, I'll do what
Getting
you
it.
want, Xi Jinping.
Hopefully, he's the only one bribed by China. Hopefully.
Well, there's Pelosi, Schumer. There's a whole bunch of them.
You think Stinking Blinken?
Even,
Stinking Blinken got money?
oh,
China throws money around. And so who likes money? Pelosi, right? Inside information, right? Well, we're going to take a, excuse me. See, I have a cold, which means tonight, if I do say things that are cognitively impaired, I'm okay. But watch, I'm going to prove that colds don't make you say crazy, stupid, idiotic, moronic things, and that Biden is lying because I'm going to say intelligent things. So we'll be back shortly. Can I show this?
We're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Computer.
I haven't.
Ted, don't do it that way. You have this in the way. You got to put it on one side of this or the other.
How to use it.
You want to put it on the, you want to put it on? That could be a nice stand for it. No, I'll leave it there. That's okay. I was going to put it on the computer.
I haven't used it yet.
Ah.
Ted's been using his for my show. You're back, Rudy.
Well, it's very nice to be back with all of my friends who are loyal enough to stick in on a weekend holiday Friday, who have plenty of leftovers probably to eat from their barbecues. And I honestly do have a cold, and Dr. Maria and Ted and Stephen are here, and also Raleigh, who is taking Raleigh, come here, Raleigh, come here. Raleigh, who is taking good, he came in. I had to take a little nap before the show because I do have a cold, and I only know Raleigh now about 3 weeks or whatever, on and off. Came right up to my bed, came on my bed. Thank you, Raleigh. Come on in. Come on in. This is Raleigh. Isn't he beautiful? Look over there, Raleigh. Look over there. Look over there. See? Yeah. Raleigh, thank you for taking care of me. Okay. Thank you, Raleigh.
Thank you.
You're a good boy. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. Thank you. You picked out the right one. I've been doing more stories on dogs in deference to Raleigh. No, I do have a bit of a new thing now. I watch rescue reels of dogs. The most professional of which are the ones, and I don't know, this is not an advertising forum or anything, but just right, straight on my heart. Victor Larco. Victor is from Spain, and he's on YouTube. And Rocky Kanaka. Now they're a little different. Victor does rescues that require complex medical procedures, which makes it really interesting because you then see the operation as well. And the operations are, similar to human ones. Like, how about, I don't know if they did, they may have done something. I mean, dogs are getting stents like I have. Maybe I'll get a dog with a stent if we can take the medicine together. And how about when these dogs have there was one dog, they took him as a puppy, and they took his front legs, they pushed him back over his head, so the dog looked like he had wings. So he only had his back legs. This is like about a 3-month-old puppy. Beautiful little dog, but his paws were like this. Well, this guy was so bold that he learned how to walk on the back legs. And then over a period of time, where they couldn't operate him as a puppy, I'd have to go back and look at it again. I'm not sure if they did operation on him or they did therapy, but they eventually got the legs about 3/4 down so they could touch the ground. And he was spread out a little, but the guy could walk. They're great. They're great to watch. So Biden needs more sleep. Well, that's obvious because he was exhausted after 8 days. So I'm trying to figure out the regimen if he becomes the next president. I believe, and we'll get the exact numbers, Ted. This is your job for the weekend, okay? All right. how many days was he on vacation? If I say almost half, I'm not far off, right? So we take those out. That's a vacation. I mean, you got to be, if he doesn't rest on a vacation, not my fault. Vacation. And it looks like he doesn't seem like he's doing anything when he's laying on that beach. Now, I know Trump and I know him, their personalities. He is the incarnation of laziness. I don't think he'd work if he didn't have to. And Trump doesn't know how not to work. I mean, it isn't, work is his life. It's part of his life. All his children are involved in it. His family's involved in it. His best friends are involved in it. And that was true of his business. It was true of his social life. And it was true now of politics. I mean, we're all involved in his business, right? Even the ones who don't like him, we're involved in his business. So, and he's an entirely social person. If I'm correct, and he's he's not. Mar-a-Lago is now closed, but even at Bedminster, he's at the big dining room, having dinner with all the people around. And even though it's a little more regulated than it would have been a year ago, before he was running, people still feel comfortable coming up to him, and they do. Or if they don't, he walks around there. And he's not doing it because he's running. He did it before. He's doing it because it energizes him. I know that because I know it because I'm the same kind of person. It energizes me. You know, I was feeling really sick yesterday. I couldn't go to a party. Comes time to do the show, I feel great. Same thing now. I was feeling sick before. I took a little nap, helped by Raleigh. That'll feel great, but I feel happy doing the show. And I sure as heck, if you ask me, did I watch the debate? I don't think I would say, I don't think so. The answer, I'll give you my answer. You be George Stephanopoulos, Ted, and I'll be Bozo.
Did you watch the debate?
I don't think so.
He says, I don't think so. No. So he's either.
Oh, I don't think so.
He wasn't sure for sure what he was supposed to say.
I don't think so.
And then he forgot the lie.
No.
Right?
My doctor said it all happened because I was exhausted. Now, what should George have asked at that point? What would any honest reporter operating as an agent for the American people, who are entitled to have this information if they're entitled to have anything? We're at the same level as the cover-up of the hard drive, which George participated in, which led to the fraud of the first time we elected him and the death of all the people in Ukraine. So what should a guy for a grammar school newspaper have asked him as a follow-up to, I was very exhausted? What's the question?
I mean, why? How can you say that? Why were you so exhausted?
Because I had been traveling
What,
all around.
you've been back in the U.S. for 13 days.
I don't remember that. I don't think so.
When were you? Yeah.
I don't. Was it that long? I don't
Yeah.
remember those 13 days.
He wouldn't ask him, when did you return? Because Joe wouldn't know. He had no clue.
When did your son die? I don't know.
Oh, gosh. wouldn't be able to
What
answer.
year? I don't know. Can you give us an estimate within 2 or 3 years? No. When should you leave being vice president? I don't know. Can you give us an estimate within 2 or 3 years? No. That's all on the her tape.
So we're seeing
So
one
why
of the.
didn't George why didn't George ask him the following? Mr. President, you're going around with all these interviews and you're coming to me and everyone's going to distrust this interview because, I don't think it's true, but people would see me as a Democrat partisan. George should be at least honest enough to know that. And then say, but you have a videotape that'd be pretty definitive. It was the questioning of you, and it's a while back by Prosecutor Herr, who comes to kind of a in-the-middle conclusion, which is that you shouldn't be prosecuted because a jury wouldn't convict a nice old man who has lost a lot of memory. Now, it doesn't say dementia. It doesn't say you're unfit for president. It says you're unfit for standing trial. So it's ambiguous. But you can't leave the American people with ambiguity about whether their president is up to defending them against nuclear war when we're about as close to that possibility as we have been since Ronald Reagan was in the White House or John Kennedy. I don't think you have an option of holding that tape back. You can't say it was executive privilege because you put out a transcript and your staff has admitted you falsified it. And finally, it's not executive privilege. The court has just defined executive privilege. It's the conversations that you have with your staff. It's not your interviews that you have with me or a prosecutor. President doesn't need protection from that. A president needs protection so he can listen to advice, not so he can communicate with the public. So why are you holding this back and instead going through this phony interview with me? That's what you're entitled to, damn it. If we had a democracy, and by democracy, I mean full democracy. Democracy as our great founding fathers defined it, a nation of laws, a nation of decency, a nation premised on our rights coming from God, and government couldn't interfere with them. Well, let's take a short break and we'll be right back. We'll do Hunter next. Delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now. This is Rudy Giuliani back with you with America's Mayor Live. And it's really interesting because all of this has evolved into a new setup at the White House. In addition to his being too exhausted to remember that he was president during the debate with Biden and remember his name with Trump, he now has decided, he and the first stepmother have decided that they're going to blame it on the staff. The staff did this. One of the things that you have the hardest to do is to blame the debate on the staff. You're the one up there, not them. And frankly, if you can perform as a debater, you can. And if you can't, you can't. And even one who doesn't prepare right is going to come across okay. And you're going to lose it, but you're not going to be thrown out. Look, They say Obama lost the first debate. I knew it didn't matter. I knew, even as a Republican, I knew he was a better debater than Romney. And he was going to lose the second. He was going to win the second debate. Now, if the candidate had been Trump, or if the candidate had been a Reagan, or if the candidate were me, he'd have been dead in the second debate. Because you get him in one, now you really know how to get him in the second. But Romney, it was a terrible debater. And in fact, he let him go numerous times in that debate. Because you just go back over the last debate and you lure him back into the mistakes that he made in the last debate. And usually the answers they have for that are contrived as hell. Because they really were mistakes, and now they now increase the lie or the distortion. But that's another matter. But you knew that, first of all, his losing it was marginal. He had a weak debater on the other side, and he was going to boom. And you knew with Reagan that it was over for Mondale. All Reagan needed was to stop being prepared, in his case, too much. Because from being a very interesting conversational guy, he turns into a nerd. Oh, the economy improved by 10.432% in the first 4 months, but then it went to 12.7632%. I think they were trying to show that he was very bright, because that had always been the thing about him. So they tried to make him extraordinarily detailed in what he was saying. And it doesn't mean he said anything particularly wrong. He said things that were quite, hey, who gives a damn? That kind of thing. Next time, Mrs. Reagan got rid of everybody, threw them all out, all the preparers. She got one or two, Mike Deaver and her, and he gave his answers based on his knowledge of the presidency and his wonderful skill for simplifying things so that ordinary people can understand complex subjects, which is a great skill. And he had it in abundance, but they were holding it back. So now let's take a look at the new chief guy at the White House, who has been compared to Rasputin. I'll tell you who Rasputin is in a little while, or ask one of the people here to tell us who Rasputin is. But there's the new guy in charge, key member of the Biden crime family, has been given additional responsibilities. You see who he is? He first, yeah, look at him. He's directing everything around. Look, you don't see it?
There we go. Oh.
Well, I don't think, don't we have to put it up a little higher?
No, don't go too high, don't go too much higher.
Oh, that's better. That's better, right? Because you can see what
It's better.
It's table. Don't want to get anything beyond the table on either side.
There it is. Okay? Here, now let me show it to you this way. Here.
Hunter is what? What's he doing?
He's pointing the way. He's showing how to go. Let's go to the interview with Stephanopoulos. That's a great idea, Pop. That's a good one to go to, because we can't win anything with that. We can only lose. Any money coming in, Joe, from China? You better watch out if they're going to go out. They might do a couple of sellouts. They have a couple of deals. Yeah, well, he wants a couple more sellouts before. What do you think happens to his? What do you think happens to his paintings when Joe? You think they go down from $5,000 to $5? Oh, not even $5. Well, we're going to wish Joe a good night's sleep tonight, because it's already past his bedtime. You should definitely appreciate. Oh, it was because you have to appreciate the fact that he stayed up late to talk to Stephanopoulos. The present poll is 48-40 in the Wall Street Journal poll. His disapproval rating is so high they can't measure it. It's the highest ever for any president. And other polls, Trump has a 6-point lead, but it does expand to 8-point with definite voters. All of the inside indicators in the poll are devastating for Biden. Meaning, what I mean by that is, so you might change your general impression, but who's doing better? Who can handle the immigration? 40% Trump, plus 40% Trump. Who can handle foreign policy? 30% Trump. Who can bring crime down and make us safer? 30% Trump. Who can help us kill more babies? 50% Biden. That's it. Killing babies is the one thing he's got going for him. And Trump has done a very, very good job in that debate of when he brings up abortion, talking about killing babies. Because that's when he said they're the extremists. And he doesn't embrace the extreme right position, so he has every right to do it. And he's lying when he says he doesn't embrace late-term abortion. Every bill that he supported has late-term abortion. The day before you're going to have the baby, you can kill it. I mean, it's off the charts. It's inhumane abortion. Only 6% of the people who watched the debate thought Biden had exceeded their expectations. 46% thought Trump did, and 70% thought Trump won. So now we may have Kamala time, which will offer us as much humor as if it's Kamala time, I may do a half-hour comedy show every night because I'm told that I do a good cackle. Here's one of the good ones from her. I think this is a little old, but they repeated it today, but I thought this was a good one. During a recent Today Show interview, she offered this profundity. This is from Kirsten Fleming. It's time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. You think that'll be on her gravestone? It's time for, I was going to put it on our whiteboard. It's time, maybe we will have it there as our guidance for our lives. It's time for us to do what we have been doing. And that time is every day. She is our nation's foremost purveyor of word salads, gifting us volumes of unintelligible verbal pileups, completely devoid of any meaning. Then how about a little practicality? She's the immigration czar. She's presided over records every year of illegal aliens coming into the United States. She's presided over records of illegal alien rapes, murders, human trafficking, fentanyl. Exactly the one you want, the one who's gotten us killed the most. Her management style has been called into question after staff defection. Remember when she went through almost all her staff left? I wonder what she does to them. But she's got Clyburn saying you can't have anything but her because she's a black woman. Yeah, isn't that how he got in this trouble in the first place? He set a racist criteria for vice president and said it has to be a woman first, and then said it has to be a black woman. And she was the last or the one standing. And look what we got. It's a very difficult job. I think the selection pool should be very large and not determined by the color of your skin. What do you think? You think that's a good reason why they shouldn't be in charge of American politics until they change that position? Foreign elections are very interesting. They're all going right except for the British Parliament. But the British Parliament, in a way, is going right because they're rejecting a rhino right party. They're rejecting the Conservative Party, which has had like 2 decades to rule and can't keep the illegal immigrants out. So Neil Farage has developed his party, and they have eaten away at the conservatives. They did come in third, but he did for the first time get his position in the parliament, and I predict he will be prime minister. That party is going to come over to him, but he had to go in there and rip them apart in order to do it. And the Labor Party will be there for a while. And the Labor Party is not like the American Democratic Party. It is not a group of people that want to mutilate your child, nor do they want to force you to take vaccines. They actually banned vaccines very early on for anybody below 5, and then anybody below 10, and then anybody below 20 now or 18. I mean, they including them, they agreed with that, I believe. In Brazil, they're sort of copying the U.S., or we're copying them. They're seeking to put the former president Bolsonaro in jail while the country has the highest inflation, the biggest deficit ever, because the communists are ruining it, trying to make it like Venezuela and Argentina, who finally got a bump because they're able to get rid of half their population from the jails and send them to New York. Well, shut up. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. What?
Delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now.
Welcome back to America's Mayor Live. Further to the conversation about the foreign elections in France, the right wing did very, very well. Le Pen's party, which had always been sort of an outcast, was the number 1 party. When you put together the more moderate right-wing party that came in 3rd or 4th, they're getting very close to a majority, which we'll find out on Sunday. And it is in part because of her, and in part because of a new star in the party who was a protege of hers. Is a protege of hers. His name is Jordan Bardella, and he's only 27 years old. And he is a masterful strategist and speaker. So we'll see if we can get you more on him. But France is, I'd say, 50-50 in a position where they could be like Italy became 8 months ago, with Giorgia Meloni, who's the one that saved Biden for going off with the whatever they were, the clowns that were open. He might be if she didn't stop him, he might be going around a clown show in France right now, acting for them, which might be actually better for him. He might not be as exhausted if he did that, right? So we'll look a little more into this Bardella, because he may be. I mean, he definitely is very pro-American, very different, very right-wing. Very right-wing, meaning in a good way, like lower taxes. Let's have no deficit. Let's have a country with a good economy. Let's have a country where people have good jobs. And he's very articulate on that. Bolsonaro, they're torturing because Bolsonaro had them. I mean, this is ridiculous. Bolsonaro had them at a surplus. They're stealing so much, they have it at a deficit, and they're putting them in jail, or trying to. Except, once again, Brazil's Supreme Court has yet to receive the police report, although he's been indicted. I mean, the chances that this isn't fixed in that country is little to none. Little to none. So this ends now 14 years of Tory leadership of England. Started with Cameron and it ended with Rishi Sunak, and it had, 12 days or 14 days by Elizabeth Truss, who seemed like a pretty smart conservative, but they really are rhinos. What can I tell you? And, conservatives have learned that when we elect rhinos, we don't accomplish very much. We might as well have Democrats. In some ways, it's almost as bad because we don't take advantage of having won. And then the people get angry at us. I think Dr. Maria would be very interested to know that there's a big border loophole. If you come over the northern border, you don't have to declare asylum to get in. The asylum rules are suspended for the northern border. The criminal in the White House, the head of the Biden crime family. The head of the Biden crime family suspended it. They've been suspended since the beginning. So last year they got, let me tell you how it's gone up. I mean, nobody came in under Trump there. 24,000 the first year under Biden. 92,000 the second year, 147,000 the third year, and next year they think it'll be over 200,000. And they're all completely illegal, and they don't have to claim asylum, and a lot of the cartels have shifted resources up to Canada. Oh, of course, Justin Trudeau helps them. And the Catholic Church. Catholic Charities? I mean, the idea that they're saying now they reduced, and they're just looking at the number that they account for. First of all, he's way above the 1,500-day rule if you just count the ones we're counting. Because last month he had more than 100,000. That's 3,200 a day, not 1,500. I mean, he made the rule. And you can't follow it. Plus, it's a big lie because that doesn't count for the CBP 1 entries. That's where you use the computer to come in. And it doesn't account for the paroles that he can grant on his own discretion. It doesn't count for the countries that he's taken off the list, including the one that does the most raping in this country, Venezuela, which is why I say, if God forbid your child is raped, you can hold Joe responsible. It wouldn't have happened. Wouldn't have happened. Now, that gang, Trans de Aragua, is apparently responsible for a new form of drug called mystery powder, pink mystery powder. Diddy is taking it. I don't know how we know that Diddy is taking drugs and we haven't arrested him, but and it goes back to a dangerous Venezuelan gang, and it's all the rage in New York. It's also known as Tussie and pink cocaine, and it's cheaper than coke, but it isn't primarily coke. It's ketamine mixed with food coloring, MDMA, methamphetamine, opioids, small amounts of cocaine, and that's it. And then it comes out in a pink color, and I think it's Trans Aragua. Well, they haven't described the gang. They say a big Venezuelan gang is already in a very, very big business in New York with this drug, which indicates how quickly they were able to get established in Adams, New York, who just did a really nice thing for all of the illegals to want to rape you. they'll get a cash card. He did the first thing. I didn't know this, but he did it as a pilot program. And without checking with anybody, he's announced the pilot worked, and he's adding 7,500 people. And if you come to New York, we give you money. Here, have some money. Oh, you were arrested for rape? Well, you'll get out on bail. Just don't rape anybody else, okay? Or the dog eating contest at the hot dog eating contest. The hot dog eating contest at Coney Island was worth nothing. It's worth nothing because they didn't even come close.
Joey Chestnut, he didn't partake in it.
They didn't come close to Joey Chestnut's record. It was like a silly one. There's a hurricane hitting Texas. 2 million people, 7 million people within its predicted zone. And so we should be dealing with more of that on Monday. And it has a great uncertainty as to its strength. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And last thing I'm going to pick up tonight, because I'm going to quit a little early, is I do think with all of the emphasis on how terrible and how bad Biden's debate was, and now the magnification of it with him continuing to make mistakes, you miss how good Trump was. He did everything he was supposed to do. I go back to the people that criticized him and said, this is what he has to do in the debate. He doesn't do much. He's got to come across as a nice guy. Well, he did. He criticized him once, and he did it fairly, I would call it gently, but the right tone that he doesn't know what he's talking about, or I don't know what that last sentence means. I don't think he does. He said it sort of in a Ronald Reagan way, maybe a little harsher, but very smart, very, very smart comment that just sort of put together. So everybody there says, well, yeah, you're right. He resisted enormous opportunities to bang him as stupid and dumb and idiotic and ridiculous, and which he could have done, and he didn't. And he came away using that time to describe his policy successes and his ability to do that for the future of America. So I think part of why not only has Biden numbers gone down, but his numbers have gone up, is that he had a good debate. But, it's hard for them to say that. But today, several columnists did who aren't completely biased. But I mean, frankly, the story of the debate is never before in American politics has any presidential candidate fallen apart like this. Maybe it is because there's never been a guy quite this demented. We were never stupid enough to put a guy who belongs in a high intensity nursing home or an insane asylum in the White House. Also, you could have also put him in a prison for all the money that he took from China. Well, I want you to have a great weekend. We'll get a chance to go over that interview. It's rather short. You can listen to it quick. And let's see how much he evaded and how much Stephanopoulos patted him on the back. And let's see how many things he stumbles over this weekend. And also, one last question for my assembled experts here. How much longer for him? Who wants to say first?
I'll go first. You asked how much longer out of all the questions, right?
Do we all think he's going to go?
You know what?
Yeah, he's going. No, we have to pick a time though.
Right around the time of our convention to steal the thunder of our convention, perhaps.
That's a good guess.
I actually think he's going to try to hold on for as long as can be. Tonight, he said, if the Lord God told him to step out, he would, if the Lord God came down. So this man has an ego as big as Texas, and that's still intact. And so I think it may go If he's going to be forced, it will happen at their convention.
That's a lot.
Two very good answers. I'm gonna
Let me first say the following. I don't think it'll happen based on what you said, because I don't think the Lord God talks to him.
Hey, but it gives him it gives him an out, doesn't it? Now he can say any day, God talked to me. God
And
came me
and
in
if,
the
that
gave me in
if that's what he needs, he better call Adams, who's the only person I know that God talked to in 1993. And God
I knew he was gonna say.
told him to run for mayor, which is very, very interesting. You don't think he needs a psychological evaluation? I do. So the Lord God is going to tell him, huh? Only the Lord. But what are the chances that's going to happen?
I would say whatever makes the
So
most
when
sense
he- when
based
he-
off the
when he pulls
bylaws for
out-
the DNC.
When he
For
pulls
Kamala.
out, we would know that the Lord God has come down to earth. That was like 2,000 years ago that he did that. And in order to tell, last time he did it, he came to save all mankind. So this time he's going to come down to save Joe Biden, the biggest crook in modern America. I doubt it.
What do you think, Mayor? You asked all of us. When? You got to say when. That was very specific. July 15th, Steven says. Dr. Maria says at their convention.
The weekend of I think he does it next weekend.
Oh.
I think Stephen, I've thought that, and I thought it before too, Stephen. I think.
I'm going with the DNC now. I'm switching my answer with Dr. Maria.
I don't think he. I would say that.
That's smart.
I think this is relentless.
Yeah.
And if we were trying to get him out, he'd be there. We couldn't get him out. He'd be on the ticket. We don't mean anything, but they want to get him out because they're afraid he can't beat Trump. And I'll tell you what would speed it up. And you and I they get a poll that goes from 8% to 12%. He'll be gone even before the convention.
It doesn't appear the interview tonight, at least based off of rapid and immediate reaction, it doesn't appear to have quelled anyone's concerns.
The worst thing
on the Democrat side.
The media tonight was one of the stupidest political decisions ever made. Had he done a great job, first of all, I don't know what an audience it had, but it wasn't big. So it's going to be the reporting of the interview
that
determines the effect. If the reporting of the interview,
Very good.
He did a great job with George Stephanopoulos, except for dedicated Democrats. Everybody else would say, well, that was a fix. He can't win from that interview. It's like the Yankees beat the Little League.
Yeah.
We're going to be world champs. We just beat the Little League. People say, okay, seal that to somebody else, you crooked bums. Now, if he wants to do an interview and he wants to prove to us, he's got to get somebody who's going to challenge him. But I do think.
Hey, he's welcome on to America's Mayor Live.
Yeah.
Or is he? I don't know. Are we allow? Yeah. We have no moral.
I'll have him on anytime, any place. Except he ain't going to get questions.
You don't like guys who treat their grandchildren the way he treats his.
Ask him about that too.
But we would have him on. Open invite.
Okay. Well, Rudy's going to get a little rest. He's going to be 100%. Or lost his mind if Coles do that to you, like Biden.
Apparently.
And we'll be back on Monday at 3 for Dr. Maria. We won't be back with Dr. Tuesday. Oh, I got to get it right. The evenings of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. So right now we can watch it. We can watch it live. Okay. Go on Frank's speech. You watch Dr. Maria. It'll be excellent. Everyone told me it was a great show. I haven't seen it yet. And we'll talk about it. God bless America, all of you. Let's hope you have a great weekend. It's still 4th of July, I think. Okay.
Bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained by rational principles. The reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply